with another video. Okay, so I made the first video talking about what I wanted to talk about on my blog, giving you a brief overview of who I am. Again, my name is Lindsay. And today I'm just going to get into it. I'm going to talk about what is trichotillomania. So I'm going to talk about the definition of it. Basically just give a brief overview for anybody who doesn't know and anyone who wants to know. I'm also trying to shape this video as a way to tell, your family members. So if you're like, if they have questions and they don't really understand or they don't really know too much about it, you can show them my video. Hey family members, how you doing? And it'll give them just a little bit of an overview of the disorder, okay? Also, I will probably do another video on family members and what to say and what not to say when somebody opens up to you about their trick. That's going to be a fun one because I've had mixed reviews in my experience with opening up to people with about my trick. So yeah, and also I will be talking a little bit about again, mental health in the Black community. So again, this is mainly what my blog is about. It's about Black people, mental health, opening up about our disorders, talking about them, just being more open. So I would love to engage you guys in conversation. I will probably put below somewhere where you can find me on social media so we can talk, okay? So let's get into it. All right. So on my handy dandy Pop-Tart phone, shout out to my best friend for this. She knew I love stuff like this. I'm such a person like this. Anyways, so let's get into the definition of trichotillomania. As classified by the DSM-5. I think they're just on 5, not any text traditions or anything like that. That is the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual that all psychologists use. I don't know if it's written by the APA. I could be wrong, but it is the Diagnostics Manual. So the criteria for trichotillomania, as per the DSM-5, recurrent pulling out of one's hair, resulting in noticeable hair loss. B, an increasing sense of tension immediately before pulling out the hair or when attempting to resist the behavior. C, pleasure, gratification, or relief when pulling out the hair. D, the disturbance is not better accounted for by another mental disorder and is not due to a general medical condition. Basically, that's meaning it's not because you were taking these other drugs and these drugs made you pull it out, or there was another pre-existing condition that makes you feel the urge to pull out your hair. And E, the disturbance causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas or functioning, meaning it disrupts your life. Basically, it's a noticeable difference. It causes you some grief, some slack in your personal life. Let's see here. So that is basically the textbook definition of what trick is. Let me tell you a little bit more about trick. So trick is a form of self-harm. If you think about it, pulling out your own hair is harming yourself. It's changing your bodily appearance and not in a good way. It's a body-focused repetitive behavior. Repetitive, of course, you do it all the time. Some people pull for relief. Some people pull out of anxiety. Some people pull as a way to like punishment for themselves for not getting this right or getting that right. A lot of times people will pull, just to make themselves feel better. As the definition said, it's kind of like causes a relief, It's kind of like you're, speaking from my experience, it's like you're causing the pain a little bit, causing the pain, and then it's like, oh, I released the pain once I pulled the hair out. It's like, ow, it hurts, ow, it hurts, ow, it hurts, ow, it hurts. okay, now it doesn't hurt anymore. I released myself of that pain, even though I caused myself that pain. It's kind of a way for me to relieve some anxiety. When I'm feeling extremely anxious, I'll go and like I'll pull, and so it helps me divert a little bit. Let's see. So 1 to 2 out of every 50 people will experience trick in their lifetime. That number seems kind of high to me for it to not be spoken about, but also when I was reading up on it years back, I have a degree in psychology, so when I was in college studying this, it was great to study something that I was affected by, because it was like, oh my gosh, great, so I could understand myself. And I think that's what a lot of psych majors do in college, is they take psych to understand themselves or understand people, other people. But I don't even remember where I was going with that, but Trick has a high comorbidity rate with anxiety, depression, OCD, as well as PTSD. So what that basically means is when something's comorbid, it's two things happening at the same time. So you will see Trick a lot of times in people who have high anxiety rates, who have depression, OCD, I don't think that's me, and PTSD. Oh, me too. But you will see that a lot. So sometimes, like I said, it's kind of like a coping mechanism. I use it to cope with other things. Anxiety, I wouldn't say causes it, because my psych teacher in college used to say correlation does not equal causation. So just because one is seen with other doesn't mean that one causes the other, which I love that statement. I say that for everything. And so, you know, you'll see a lot of different disorders, but a lot of times with psychological disorders, you will see comorbidity with a lot of different things, because, you know, things affect people differently. So let's get into treatments. So unfortunately, Trick is still tricky in the eyes of the APA and, you know, practitioners and things of that nature. There's no one set medication that is specifically targeted for trichotillomania. A lot of times, therapists will refer their patients to psychiatrists who will prescribe some other things. A lot of times they will try antidepressants. I had a therapist once, she prescribed, not therapist, a psychiatrist, they prescribed me some antidepressants. Now, sometimes it will work, other times it won't work, and it can actually make it worse. It depends on the person, it depends on the scenario, situation, but I have read up on it, and I will tell you that it made mine worse. I went from just, I have mild, what I think is mild, trick, and it sent me into overdrive, so much so that at the time, like, I was doing my Afrocentricness, the twist outs and the twists and everything like that, like this whole area, this front area from like here to here on this side was gone, and from here to here on this side was gone, and in the middle as well. Normally you can't really tell too much, I like to think. I could be lying to myself, but I don't know. Like, you can't tell too much with my trick, but at that moment it did, and so I had to stop taking the medication because it actually made it worse. So be wary of that. Be noticeable, not noticeable, but notice your patterns when you are taking medication for trick. Just, you know, watch yourself, just because, you know, if you don't want to do medicine, there's other things. There's psychotherapy, which is mainly the main one that has proven or has seen a lot of success, is habit reversal therapy. I don't know how or if habit reversal therapy is good or works for people who have been doing or who have been pulling for extensive long periods of time. Like, I don't know if habit reversal therapy would work for me because I've been pulling for 14 years. So it's very, very hard. But I mean, I'm no psychotherapist, so I can't tell you if it'll work or if it won't work. And then what has worked and what has proven most effective for me is just plain old good old counseling. I love counseling. I was so excited when I was 18 and going to college because my college offered free counseling sessions. Oh, I was so happy to be able to get a psychologist, to have my own psychologist, just to talk about things. I just knew so much more about myself after seeing a psychologist, and I was a psychology major. That was one of the first things that I did when I enrolled in college. First semester, got a psychologist because I just wanted to talk and just understand so much more about myself. So counseling works if you want it to work. That is one note that I will say. Counseling only works if you want it to work. If you go into counseling with hesitation about anything, for any of these matters, anything that you are suffering through, then it will not work. If you're resistant to the therapy's not going to help you. So you have to be open to the change and open to listening and learning more about yourself. So yeah, trick is tricky. There can be mild cases of trick. There can be more severe cases of trick. Sometimes people pull a lot. There is no one set area that makes the definition of trick. You can pull from anywhere. A lot of people pull from their eyebrows, from their eyelashes, head, arms, legs, pubic area, which I do want to speak on. A lot of people don't talk about that. People pick from their pubic area. It does happen. And it's more frequent than people think. So if you're out there and you have trick and you pull from your pubic area, don't be ashamed of that. That happens. People pick from there. So yeah, people pick from all over. If you have hair, you can pull it from anywhere. So I will do another video about I will do another video about family members and things to and things not to say to your loved one with trick, because I have had some people say some pretty awful things. And I don't blame them. It's because they don't understand. So I will definitely do another video on that. Let me think of anything that I might have forgotten whilst talking about trick. It can be, like I said, it can be mild or severe. You can pull from many places. It can be painful. It can cause scarring. It can cause lesions. There will be blood sometimes. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but sometimes there's blood. Sometimes there's all different types of things when you pick and you pull. Speaking of comorbidity, a lot of times you will see people who are hair pullers to pick at their skin as well. In my case, I am a hair puller and a skin picker. I pick at my skin to get to the hair, like ingrown hairs and things of that nature, so like I said, there will be blood, there will be, tools. If you see somebody with their tools, tweezers a lot of times are their tools, tweezers, different things to help them get into the hair follicle and all that jazz. Sometimes people will, I know sometimes people will eat the hair. I don't eat the hair. There's nothing wrong with eating the hair, but that does cause intestinal issues. Sometimes people, over time, you can have intestinal issues, have to go to the hospital, have it taken out. So be aware if you think that, your loved one has trick, or they may not know that they have trick, and you're watching this video and you know that they've had intestinal issues caused by hair, and they don't know what happened. They may have trick, but don't go diagnosing them without them wanting you to, unless you are a clinical therapist. Don't do that. So yeah, this is a brief synopsis. Talk about brief. It's like 15 minutes, but brief synopsis on what trich is. I will do another video on the do's and don'ts of talking to your loved ones with trich, of what to say. So if you are a tricky family member, like I did that, welcome. You can watch the videos on my page. It's an inclusive environment. I just want you to know to support your loved one. I will make a video just for you, like I said, but support your loved one and stay tuned. Bye, tricks.